Okay. Whew. Okay, as you can probably guess, I'm out in nature, and this red nose does not mean I drink a lot. It just means I'm chilly. See, you can see the bay out there, and the sun, and you can hear kids screaming in the distance. This is where I'm at, a nice, quiet, semi-secluded place, and we're going to channel. Hello, dear ones. This is the first channeling of the year, and I am welcoming you. I actually like being outside doing this because it's very different from being in a building channeling. And one of the things that I like about being outside here is, even though this is January and it is chilly, and hence the reason for Aryan's red nose, there is a sense of newness, of the wind blowing through, of change, of things being different. So, I would like to talk about 2020. And 2020, when you first think about it, you do not necessarily think about the year because, let's be honest, many of us are still in 2019, and if you write checks, you often write 19 until you remember, no, it's 2020. Those of you who write checks, Aryan reminds me, well, that is true. But 2020 is familiar for something else. 2020 is perfect vision. You see things perfectly when you have 2020 vision. And Aryan has chosen the word for this year to be clear seeing. And I totally agree with that because, dear ones, 2020 vision is exactly what you are being asked to have, being asked to deal with, being asked to find in yourself, not just 2020 vision for what's out there in the world, but 2020 vision about yourself, who you are, where you are going, what you are doing, what you need to do to heal, to evolve, to transform, a word I don't like much, but more importantly, to evolve. So 2020 vision means you can no longer fool yourself. You can no longer pretend that you can see clearly, because when you have 2020 vision, you can. You do. And you can no longer fool yourself. And that's important for many of us, actually for most human beings, especially those in third dimensional form. It is really safe and harmless to delude ourselves rather than to see the truth, because the truth often is painful. So we put filters in front of our eyes, in front of our clear seeing, our third eye. We have tunnel vision. We only see this much. We don't see what's really happening around us, or we choose not to oftenly, or we disregard what doesn't fit with our belief systems and our realities. So you can imagine that having 2020 vision is really kind of scary, just unsettling, getting things looking differently at things. It's really pretty unusual for lots of us. And yet, this is what we are going to be wishing on all of the human beings on the planet Earth this year, is that they have 2020 vision, whether they like it, wish it, or not. It's like, it's time. And I'm saying this because usually I'm an advocate of, and I know Aryan is, of, accepting what you can accept and taking time to open up to larger things. But dear ones, you don't have that time any longer. You must do this or die. And I'm not talking physical death, but I'm talking emotional death, spiritual death, and even physical death, and climate change death. So we're really talking about a lot of things. This is all coming because you need to be seeing clearly. Am I scaring you enough? Am I unsettling you enough? I really hope so. And you know that I am not interested in making people suffer. I really want to help them move through their stuff. And so in a way, of course, I'm going to do that with you right now so that you can see 2020 vision. In my greed exercise in Arian's book on money, I talked about there being a shiny plastic wrapped around the earth, and that's the greed plastic. It looks good, but it's really fake. And I said that it's really important to cut it off. 100 layers of this stuff. You have to cut it off and peel it off. And every one of you also has a greed layer inside of you, and all of that needs to be cut off and peeled off. And because that prevents you from having prosperity, true prosperity. It prevents you from seeing clearly what's right and wrong. So here is the same thing with 2020 vision. It's time that you have to clear out the impediments, the blocks, the filters, the obstacles, the tunnel vision, the things that keep you seeing only a certain way, believing only a certain way, because they have been put in you by other people at other times. Okay, so of course, right away, let's imagine the crystalline grounding cord coming up from the center of the earth, going all the way into the sun, surrounding you. If you're in a room, surrounding you as wide as that room. If you're out here in nature like I am, it's just a huge circle. And the earth really likes this because it feels really good. Right now, being out here in the earth feels really terrific. Feels good to Arian, feels good to me, feels good to this channeling. Okay, so now let's call in the white Christed light. I'm only going to put one hand up because the other one's holding this this phone, and just allow it to come through me to you. Open your hands and let it come into you. Let it come in so that you are feeling it going through all of your body. And as it does, I've already just talked about a few things. Let all of those things that I've talked about, let all the anxiety, all the worry, the concern, the uncomfortableness, let them all be displaced, removed, dissolved. And know that there's going to be more work. Because right now, as the white Christ's light is running, and I'm going to ask it to run for a while in you, in Arian, in me, is to say that we need to start clearing out our inner wisdom, our seeing clearly, our 2020 vision. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing we need to do is to imagine that you and your higher self are going into the center of your head, a place where sometimes you see, sometimes you don't. And just imagine this is your secret central place of being. It's where you sit when you are trying to see. And I would ask that you bring in a big gold shop vac with a cosmic vacuum coming down from the sun with a big, big, big nozzle and hose. And just start spraying the room that you're in. Spraying it with gold light. Yes, it's a vacuum, but first of all, we're going to give it we're going to foam it up with gold energy. And then turn on the vacuum part of it. There's a switch that goes to spray, and then there's a switch that goes to vacuum. And now start vacuuming up everything in that room. Because you've put it all into present time, dear ones. And if it does not serve you at the moment, if it is limiting in any way, even the smallest way, if it is preventing you somehow from having 20/20 vision, from seeing clearly, from getting past the belief system, it all goes. You can imagine that vacuum, vacuuming it up, sucking it into the sun where it can be recycled. Now, of course, you haven't done any work. You've just asked that this vacuum come in and go, the spray sound and the sucking up sound and into the sun. And now, let's go even further. Take that hose and the spray and spray the aura all around your head. Spray it. That's my onomatopoeic accompaniment. The sound of things being sprayed from the top of your head all the way down, even go down to your throat. Just spray your aura, spray the outside of you. So you look kind of silly. So you're sort of all covered in this gold foam that is putting you into present time, that is putting all of these filters and blocks that are in front of you. Some of them float, so you think everything's fine, but then they come back. You didn't see that. But you think, what was that? And it disappears. But now I'm saying all of that is being sucked up. Now, turn on the vacuum. Suck it all up. Suck everything that's not in present time, not vibrating to your highest sense of being, which is what the white Christed light is giving you. Let it all go out. If it's uncomfortable in any way, if it's a filter, if it's a block, if it's confusion, if it's doubt, if it's negativity, if it's anything that isn't you being positive, being solid in your sense of being, anything that's keeping you from being grounded into yourself, all of that gets to go out of your system, out of your sense of being, out of your... See, we're getting a little off target here. And now, allow yourself, I'm going to show the water, because I think this would be a good time to show the water. Allow all of that gold foam that is dissolving, all of that crap, all of those negativities, sucking them up from down below your throat to above your head, clearing it all out of your aura, cleaning it all out of your physical body, sending it into the sun to be recycled. And now, from the center of your head, I'd like you to imagine yourself saying, I choose to be clear. I choose 20/20 vision. I choose perfect vision. I choose clarity in all parts of my life and being. This is very important, dear ones, because if you are going to be doing this, you need to feel it in all parts of you. So one of the keys that I have emphasized, and I've mentioned it in some of Arian's and my books, because we are partners in those books, is that when you are doing a clearing of some part, for example, your mental boxes, which are in the money book, they are linked to down in your body to other chakras, so that if you are thinking yourself as poor, you have a cord or two going down to your first chakra, which is the chakra of survival. And you also may have some going to your heart, which say, if you're spiritual, you can't be rich, you have to be poor, and you have to love in a certain way and be loved in a certain way. So, or you can, so what I'm trying to say, dear ones, is it's not enough to do the work up here. You also have to do some work down here. So I would like you to imagine that tendrils of light are going down to your other chakras, the fifth, the fourth, the third, the second, the first, the grounding one underneath your feet. All of those, imagine tendrils of light from the center of your head, from your sixth chakra, going down to these other chakras and filling them up with that sense of clarity, of perfect 2020 vision, so that you can actually see clearly. That if you are worried about money and survival and job and health and home, which are all first chakra issues, if you have this light connection with your clear seeing, you may see what's real and what's only anxiety or fear. And then if you see that anxiety or fear or feel it coming up, allow it to go down your grounding cord, so that you don't have to have it there. So right now I'd like you to run that gold light all the way down, not the hose, just imagine the beams of sunlight, just like the sun is beaming on me right now. Beam, or actually Arian and me, beam it through you. Feel it go through you. Fill up the places where all of that junk disappeared. All of those old fears, beliefs, patterns, lies, filters. Let all of those distortions, let all of those be dissolved and cleaned out. And filled up with gold light that just fills you and lightens you and makes you feel that you can move forward confidently, efficiently, wisely in the new world, the new year, I should say, and this new world. And allow yourself to imagine that you will be a different person by the end of this year. The world will be different, and you will have seen clearly. And because you see clearly, you will have responded in a whole different way. And you will be expanded, evolving, ascending. Keep that as your goal for the year. Many months ago, I did, and I've referenced it in other channelings, a channeling about patches. The patches are your old energies stuck on you that you have to clear off and release. Let's say that by the end of this year, a lot of those patches are gone, and you are much more enlightened, much more in your body, healed, evolved. That is my 2020 wish for all of you. And now I am done. So close your hands and the white crested light, and Thank you, dear ones.